And I'd like to welcome you all to our module 2 today, and we're covering buttons and accessibility features. But before we do, we are going to hear from Jordan from DC Public Library. The WildTech DC Senior iPad program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on information, any applications or topics made by WildTech, including but not limited to mobile device applications and any social media pages maintained by WildTech, its owners or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thank you so much for letting me read the disclaimer. If you cannot see me, hear me, or see the screen, same thing with Jordan, please let us know in the chat. I always recommend you have some kind of notes next to you so you can record them for later. And as always, make sure your TVs and cell phones are silenced to give others and yourselves the most immersive experience. Recording. And again, today for Module 2, we're covering iPad information and battery life. We'll be learning about the physical parts of your iPad. We'll be learning about Siri and some accessibility features. So first up, some information. So most of us have an ninth generation iPad. Unless you were one of our first participants in 2021, you may have a 7th generation iPad. Okay, but either way, with your iPad, Apple says the battery for the 9th generation iPad lasts for about 10 hours or so. So it has a roughly all-day life expectancy. So when you charge it at night, that's what I recommend that you do. You first at night check to see where your percentage is at. Right now, if I look, I'm at 80%. That's pretty good. You know, I've used it throughout the day. So again, that's really good. And by the night, I'm going to see if I'm at like 60, 70, 80%, you know, I'm good. I don't really need to charge it maybe until the next day. But if I'm at like 30 or 40 or even 20, even 50, but if I know I'm going to use it a lot the next day, I'm going to charge it overnight. When I wake up in the morning, if I charge it overnight, one of the first things I do is unplug it. And that way you can use it throughout the day and not have to worry about plugging it in, etc. But again, it just depends because watching videos and different applications may cause differences in that. So because some apps take up more battery than others. You know, for example, Zoom is probably one of the main things that uses up, you know, your battery if you come onto Zoom quite a bit on your iPad. I mean, that's just because it involves using the internet, you know, the video, the microphone, you'd be able to see the screen, the different operations and functions. So, you know, Zoom may take a little bit more battery than other apps, but it just depends on your usage. Everyone's going to be a little different. So again, use it throughout the day. At night, you check to see if you need to charge it. If not, great, you can use it throughout the day. But if you do need to charge it overnight and plug it in the morning and rinse and repeat. Okay, so that way you can use your iPad throughout the day and charge it at night. Okay. So I'm now going to be talking about some physical buttons and connectors on your iPad. So this is what the back of your iPad looks like. But in the box, you received your iPad and the cable and adapter. So this is, you know, lots of folks call it the box. It's called the adapter, and then the cord or the cable. So again, use the box or the adapter to plug into the wall. You plug in one end of the cable into the wall piece, or again, the adapter, and you plug the other part into the iPad. You see number 8, right? That's where you plug your iPad in to charge, and some headphones can be plugged into the that port as well. So you can listen through wired headphones if you want to as well. When you look at the front of your iPad, these are some of the main things that we're going to talk about today. Which is the front camera. So you have the front camera, you also had a back camera. So number 5 right here, that's where your back camera is on your iPad. And number 1 is where the front camera is located. Number 2 is the power button or the top button, however you want to call it. Number 3 are the volume buttons. So you have the volume up and down button. And then last but certainly not least is the home button. That's how you switch between applications. We'll be talking about each of these today in this section. So first up is the power button. So again, this button by itself at the top, if you're holding your iPad vertically with the home button at the bottom, your power button is located at the top right. edge. So the top part of the iPad. Of course, if you're holding it horizontally, it may be mine's here on the top left-hand side. If I hold it this way, it's going to be at the bottom right. So it just depends on how you're holding your iPad. You'll know where the power button is, or generally. The volume buttons are, of course, used to adjust your volume. And these are on the right-hand side. So again, if I hold my iPad vertically with the home button at the bottom, my volume buttons are here on the side. There are two buttons next to each other. The top one is the volume up. The bottom one is the volume down. Okay. So again, this is what your volume buttons look like. Again, I have a case on my iPad, and again, you all should have a case as well. So it may be covered in some way, but again, you know where it's located. So again, the volume up is used to turn the volume up. You can hold it to quickly turn the volume up. And with either the volume up or down button, you can take a photo in the camera app if you would like. I'll show the case that later on as well. The volume down button is the bottom button of the two, and you can hold it to quickly mute the audio if you need to, or just simply hit it to turn the volume down. And again, just like I said, you can take a photo in the camera app with either volume up or volume down. Okay, so this is the power button. Again, it's located at the top right edge of the iPad. So again, literally on the edge. When your iPad is on, you press it. Don't press it right now because it will turn off the screen for you. So just look to see where it is. When you are not using the iPad, I recommend you hit the power button just once, so press it once. Don't hold it, just press it to turn the screen off. You can also you can also do that as well by placing your iPad face down. Thank you for your chat, Seawall. Give me a moment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, what I was saying with the power button is that when you want to fully shut off your device, you hit the power button. If you hold it, and then you'll see a slider where it says slide to power off. So if you slide it to power off, it will fully power off the device. Again, I rarely, if ever, fully power it off. And that's because, of course, I'll turn it back on, but when your device is fully off, you won't get any notifications, any FaceTime calls, any alerts, anything of that nature. So it's very, very important to be able to know how to fully shut it off and turn it back on. Again, thank you so much for your patience, you all. Coming back in now. Thank you. And when your device is off, so when the screen is off, you can hit the power button to turn your device back on. And if you hold it when the device is fully off, you can power it back on. So again, just to kind of reiterate this, it's kind of the opposite from the two. When your device is on, when the screen is on, you can hit the power button once to put it in sleep mode or standby mode. And if you need to fully shut off your iPad, you hold the power button and slide it to power off. When your screen is off, you hit the power button once to turn it back on. You can also hit the home button to do the same, but just talking about the power button here for now. And if your device is fully off, you can hold the power button to turn it back on. Again, I rarely, if ever, fully shut off my device, but if needed to, now you know how to go through with that process. The home button is the small circular button at the bottom of the iPad. It's also the only button on the face of the tablet. So look, this is the home button. Again, it's that little circular indentation right above where you plugged your iPad in to charge. It's a very important button because it takes you between your applications. Again, if I hit my home button now, you see I went from my slides back to my home screen. Again, if I were to go into Zoom, hit my home button, that takes me again back to my home screen. So it allows you to switch between different apps because there is no mouse, right? Your iPad does not have a mouse. So you have to use the home button kind of as like your mouse to navigate the device, okay? But there are also other features that you can use with the home button as well, like Touch ID, which is responsible for security functions on the tablet. And you can also utilize Siri, which we will be talking about later on. And thank you so much for your patience, you all. We have the home button here. Again, it returns you to the home screen. Again, I just hit my home button to go back to my home screen with all my different apps. You can hold it to enable Siri. We'll talk about Siri in just a second, but you can physically activate Siri with the hold of your home button. You can press it twice while unlocked to open your multitasking screen. I'll talk more about that later on as well. So you press it twice, like do. So you'll see that. I'll show you more in just a second. And one of I think the most important things that you can learn how to do on your iPad is take a screenshot. So I hold my iPad like this. Again, you can take a screenshot and you don't, if you take a picture of the iPad screen, it's so much easier. You don't have to do that. You can just simply just take a screenshot. If you ever want to take a screenshot of whatever's on your screen and view it later on in your Photos apps. That's where they all live, in your Photos app. So again, press the home button and power button at the same time to take a screenshot, okay? So again, power button, home button. There you go. Just took a screenshot, right? It appears right here on the left and it goes away on its own as well. Again, home button and power button at the same time. And look at that, I can even tap on that screenshot and edit it if I want to. So I can move the border, etc. I can do that. So I can edit the screenshots. I can draw on it by hitting the pencil icon here at the top right. I can trash it or share it. Yep, I can make it transparent if I want to using that bar as well. But once you're done with editing that photo, if you want to, you can hit done. And I'm going to save it to photos. So that's how you take a screenshot of whatever is on your screen on your iPad. If you've taken a screenshot before, or if you learned how to do so today, please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, you hit your home button and power button at the same time. That is how you take a screenshot. So again, I can take a screenshot of this screen of my apps. I can go to this screen and take a screenshot of my apps. I can, whenever I'm watching a video, I can take a screenshot if, or one of you all, and if you want to take a screenshot of one of these slides for review for later, you can do so when we have our guest come on. You can take a screenshot of their contact info that they usually have in their bio or slideshow, etc. So it's a very, very convenient feature to take a screenshot as well. So I see about 5 hands or so. So thank you so much. Hopefully the others in the call as well. You all know how to take a screenshot on your iPad. You hit your home button and power button at the same time. And that is, again, how you then take a screenshot on your device. So thank you. You all can hit lower to lower your hand. Thank you so much. Multitasking, it's a way to quickly open apps you've already opened. You access the multitasking screen by double tapping your home button, okay? So it's like, did it, double tap, did it, with your finger, right? You can swipe up on different apps and close them like this. You can close out of them, but you can also access them. So if here's Zoom, here is my slides. Here's my Zoom app that I had open before. Let me go back to my slides. Let me go to my weather app right here. Let me go to my photos app that I was in. I was in Safari, etc. So there are it's very, very easy to navigate between the apps you've already opened, okay? So like, again, you double tap your home button, and that's how you access your multitasking screen. So that is how you see all the apps that you have open. I recommend, you close out of some of them once in a while. So that way, again, you can be aware of what you have open and sometimes do some spring cleaning, But again, the multitasking screen, you can double tap your home button and switch between your different apps that you've opened. If you know how to access the multitasking screen, if you learn how to do that today, please raise your hand in Zoom. But again, isn't it so much easier? I don't have to go here. I don't have to swipe through my apps and go and find Zoom and find my slides or whatever. So again, because I've already opened them at least once, I can quickly access them if I didn't close them. Like if I close the weather app, I actually have to go to the weather app to open the weather app again. So but it's very convenient. This is another way to kind of refresh an app. If you're having an issue with an app, like I was just having an issue with Zoom, right? I closed out of the app by dragging my, I'm not going to do it all the way now. Otherwise, it would kick me out of Zoom because I closed it. But again, you just swipe up on any app that you want to close. So that way, in case you're having any issues, you can do so. So thank you. I see about 6 hands. I appreciate that. So again, for this section, we went over how to take a screenshot and how to access the multitasking screen. Okay. At this point with the home button, you can also activate Touch ID. So Touch ID is basically a fingerprint sensor. So that way, instead of having to type in your iPad passcode or your Apple ID password in the App Store, you can utilize your fingerprint to verify that it's you trying to download something or again, get into your iPad. A fingerprint is very secure. As we know, fingerprints are unique to the individual and it stays on the device. If you want to activate Touch ID and set that up, or you're going to go to settings, okay? When you go to settings, I'm going to type this in the chat as well. You're going to find where it says Touch ID and passcode, okay? So again, Touch ID and passcode. What I will say is you need a passcode for your iPad if you want Touch ID. So with that passcode, you must know that passcode. You must have it known. If you forget your iPad passcode, we cannot assist you with that. You have to call Apple. So again, for that iPad passcode to get into your iPad, make sure, if you want Touch ID, that you're okay with having that passcode. And you're okay if you forget it, that you might have to go to Apple for assistance because we cannot help with WildTech cannot help with a forgotten iPad passcode, okay? But either way, when you go to Touch ID and passcode, you see it makes me enter in mine, right? My passcode to even get into this section. So type that in. And then I see here all of the different options. My Touch ID can be used for unlocking my iPad, for my Apple Pay, for my downloading apps, and for autofilling passwords as well. I highly recommend you check out the password section here on the left-hand side. Also, when you sign into something, if you have Touch ID set up, it'll ask you, do you want to save it to your passwords? And you can use again, your finger to be able to sign into your different accounts, etc. So look, when I put my finger on the home button, I'm not pressing the home button, but when I put my finger on it, it recognizes it. Okay, but first you're going to want to have a passcode. So again, it will say turn passcode on. You can choose to have a 6-digit passcode, a 4-digit passcode, etc., whatever you want. And then at that point, when you create that, you can then create a fingerprint. And it's quite easy to do so. All you have to do is hit add a fingerprint, and then you follow the instructions that are on the screen. So it says lift and rest your finger on the home button repeatedly. So I put my finger on, and I let it go. Again, that's how you would do it. So I'm not going to go through that whole process, but it's quite simple once you get your passcode set up. So again, with this section, if you want Touch ID, you must have an iPad passcode. And then you can set up your Touch ID. So you can use that instead of, again, typing in your Apple ID password to download an app or your passcode for your iPad to get into your iPad. So I hope that helps out. I hope some of you all utilize it already. If you do, please share in the chat if you would like. And again, this is where the speakers are located on your iPad. So right next to where your charge port is, so where you plug your iPad into charge, that's where your speakers are located on your device. So make sure nothing's covering that side of the device right here. If it was something was covering it, the sound would be very muffled. So make sure that your speakers are uncovered. This is your volume up and volume down button. And here's the back camera right here. So I'll be talking about the camera in just a second. But so far today, we went over battery life on your iPad. We also went over different connectors and buttons that you can take advantage of, the power button, the volume buttons, and the home button to take advantage of. The home button allows you to switch between different apps, access the Touch ID sensor, Siri, which we'll learn about later on. And we also learned how to access the multitasking screen with the home button, and again, learned how to activate Touch ID and passcode as well. And of course, the speakers and volume. Any questions about anything we covered so far before we move on? So we covered buttons, we covered the home button, different features of the home button, different features of the different buttons in general. Any questions? Please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, so it's so fun just to be able to take a screenshot, to be able to access your different apps. It's quite a convenience. You know, it may not seem like much, but when you do that a couple of times, you'll realize how much time that actually saves. So, in any questions? You can also put them in the chat. I'm able to look at the chat throughout the session as well. Thank you. So I don't see any hands, but again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or save them until the end. On your iPad, we're going to talk about camera, speakers, and microphones. So your iPad, as you learned in Module 1, has a front camera and a back camera. So you can either take a picture of what's in front of you or in what's around you as well. So the main thing is with this is utilize the camera app. I think on Monday it was World Photography Day, right? I think that was yesterday. No, it was Monday. Monday was World Photography Day. So make sure, you know, you can take a beautiful photo or a video with the camera on your iPad. This is what the camera app looks like on your iPad. It's going to be on your first screen, most likely. And there are some different options that you can do when you're using that, using the camera. So let me go to the camera app on my iPad. So again, I'm going to go to my first screen right here. It says camera. So look, that is the camera app. However you access it, let me hit the camera app and look at that. So now by default, it's the back camera. So you all are seeing the back camera. At the top right, I can make this not a live photo or make it a live photo. So if I take this photo right here, right now, look, I can go to the photo by hitting it underneath the shutter button, that white button. And look, because it's a live photo, if I hold it, you notice it takes like a mini video, like what happens before and after. So when I hold the picture with my finger, it's a live photo. But if I turn that off and take another photo, when I go back to the photo, it's just a single photo. It's not a live photo. So that's the difference. The second button over here at the top right is the timer. So I can make a 3-second timer. Yep, so it took that photo, right? After 3 seconds. You can have a 10-second timer. If you were to stand your iPad up and like if you were taking a portrait or something of a lot of folks, you can stand your iPad up and put the timer so that way you can run into the photo and have the iPad take the photo for you. The third option here is the flip camera option. So if I hit this button right here, look, I can flip either the back camera or the front camera. Back camera, front camera. The white button, of course, is for to take the photo. So if I hit that button, look at that. Take a photo. And look at that. This is like I haven't seen this come up before, that lightning bolt. So that turns on the flash. You can either turn the flash on So look at that. It flashed. So the picture would be more brighter, right? So when I see that option, you can turn it off or on by hitting that lightning bolt option. We already went over the shutter button and the photos. You can just hit the photo that you took, the last one you did right there, and access your photos really quickly from the camera app. And then last but not least, here at the bottom right, you can flip it, click your finger and be able to switch between a panoramic photo, a square photo, a regular photo, a video, a slow-mo video, or even a time-lapse video as well. So there are many different options when it comes to using the camera app. And again, you can take beautiful photos and videos, etc., just with this one app. You can zoom in by swiping. If you're doing the back camera, you can zoom in by pitching your fingers in and out, just like this, to then be able to zoom in and zoom out of the camera as well. So I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new about the camera app today. If you've utilized it in the past before, or if you are going to use the camera app on your iPad, please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, if you knew how to use the camera app, if you learned how to do so today, if you learned something new about the camera app, please raise your hand in Zoom. Thank you. Wow, quite a bit of hands, already 7, 8, love it. Again, with your iPad, you can take a beautiful photo or a video or portraits or self-portrait or a family photo or etc. Many, many different uses for the camera app. Okay, thank you. You all can hit lower. I appreciate that. It's a mix of different folks. I appreciate that. Yes, make sure you utilize the camera app. You can take really beautiful photos. Again, you'll see when you're, especially when you're outside, but when you have great lighting, you'll see how clear the pictures are. And you could share with others, use it as a background, etc. So it's a lot of fun. Your microphone is located at the top of your iPad. So if I hold my iPad vertically right in the middle, especially if you have a case on, I have a little microphone pickup hole right here. So there's like an external microphone that gets the audio, and there's an internal microphone that processes it. So again, make sure on this side or the opposite side where you plug your iPad into charge, make sure those parts of your iPad are not covered. If I literally like do this, like if I cover the pickup hole, like with my finger, it's going to be a little harder for you all to hear me. So again, make sure that, again, your sides of your devices are not obstructed where the speakers and that microphone pickup hole are, okay? So keep that in mind. You're able to use 2 apps at once on your iPad as well. So this is also called multitasking, but it's different from what we just went over. When you're in an app, so let's say, let me go to Zoom, right? So when I'm in Zoom or any app that this works with, you all notice the 3 dots at the top in the middle. If I hit those 3 dots, you may have seen those before and just kind of wondered what those were. So what I use this for, if I ever do use this feature, again, I don't use it every day, and it's just up to you how you'd like to use it. But if I hit split view, look at that. My Zoom app is kind of like here on the left. And if I open my slides app, there you go. I can have Zoom open and my slides open at the same time. Isn't that neat, right? If I want to go back to full screen for either one, you see the 3 dots on either side. So if I go into either one, I see the 3 dots. Let's say I just want Zoom, right? I'm going to hit the 3 dots and hit full screen. And there you go. So again, when you're in a compatible app, you can have 2 apps open at once. So again, I hit the 3. Let me go to my slides. Let me do that. Let me hit the 3 dots at the top in the middle. And then let me hit split view. And let me go to my weather app. There you go. Again, my weather app and my slides app at the same time. So there are many possibilities for this feature. You can have your notes open in one end and maybe a video or a book or something on the other side, another app. The possibilities are really endless. So, but it's really cool that you can have 2 apps open at the same time. If you like this feature, if you've used it before, or if you have a use for that, in your own type of way, again, everyone's going to be a little different, please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, I don't use it every day, and I'm not everyone's going to use it a little differently. So again, it's up to you and seeing how that may benefit you in your life. When the calculator app comes to iPad and later this year, I imagine you can have like an email open or a spreadsheet open and then have your calculator on the other side so you can make those calculations if you need to as well. So again, just some ideas that I think would be very helpful. So thank you. I saw quite a bit of hands. So you all can hit lower at the bottom. Thank you. Appreciate that. And our second to last topic for today is Siri. So this is like your personal assistant. You can use Siri to complete different tasks for you on your device and have it share information as well. So I'm going to show you all how to access or activate Siri with just your voice. Again, we learned in the home button section, let me go back to it real quick. If you want to manually activate Siri, you press and hold your home button. Okay, but if you want to virtually, if you want to use your voice to activate Siri, first you're going to want to go to settings. This was from I just shared the instructions from earlier about the Touch ID and passcode. You go to settings on your device. And when you're at settings, on the left-hand side, just 2 spaces above Touch ID and passcode, you are going to hit Siri and search, okay? When you hit Siri and search, on the right-hand side, you see the very first option says listen for. When I hit listen for, as you can see, I have check marked where if I say Siri or Hey Siri, it will then activate Siri for me. So right now, we all are on Zoom. So of course, Zoom is using the audio right now. You all cannot activate Siri right now. But as soon as the Zoom meeting is over, I would try to activate Siri again, whether with your voice or by holding the home button. But it's so convenient. I could be in another part of the room and use my voice to activate Siri and ask them something. Anything really. And I really like that I can do that. And again, once you have it set up, again, settings, Siri and search, and then you go to listen for and make sure that option is turned on, listen for. You'll be able to then utilize Siri with just your voice. So let me go on my phone. Again, I can do it on my phone right here. And there are so many different things that it can do for you. And that I will demonstrate again from my phone. So that way, at least you can hear the kind of responses or things that you can do with Siri. So again, you all are on Zoom. You cannot activate it right now. So it's, again, try it out as soon as you get off the Zoom call today. But with my voice, if you have an iPhone, you can set it up same way with your phone. Some simple things. Hey Siri, what's the weather for today? Sometimes it will say it, sometimes it won't. It just came up with the weather. But I can try again. Hey Siri, what's the weather for today? And again, sometimes it just doesn't come up, which is okay. Let me see if that helped out. Let me try one more time. I was connected to my headphones from my device as well. So, hey Siri, what is the weather for today? That's okay too. Hey Siri, what is 12 times 12? Usually it would say it, and I hope it does. I mean, on I know it will on the iPad, but on my phone, it usually does say it when I ask it a question, like say the answer. So let me try with another question. But again, you can ask for, as soon on your iPad for the calculator, but you can ask for the weather. Hey Siri, open the mail app. And it opened the mail app on my phone, right? So you can ask Siri to open apps for you. Hey Siri, open the FaceTime app for me. And it opened my FaceTime app, right? Hey Siri, how old is Serena Williams? But again, it comes up. I see it says 42 years old. She was born September 26. So again, I will most likely, again, respond with the actual voice on your iPad. But again, you can ask it many different things. Let's see. Hey Siri, I need directions to the Union Station. Yeah, and it sent again, it took me straight to my maps on my phone. So your maps app, and it shows me the directions to Union Station. So again, you can also ask it for directions. Um, there's just so many different options. You can ask anything. Um, hey Siri, how do I bake pork chops? And it literally came up with some instructions on how to do so. So literally any question you have, you can ask Siri and it will come up with the result. So it's like doing a search at this, at the same time, but just using your voice. And it's really easy to navigate. Hmm. You can ask Siri, let's see. Hey Siri, call Deborah home. So, because I iPhone, I can ask it to call, but you can also ask Siri to FaceTime folks for you. So again, if you want to FaceTime someone very quickly, you can, as long as they're in your contacts, you can FaceTime them or call them directly. In that manner as well. My friend actually just called me back. Uh-huh. But wow, it's so cool that you can do so. Hey Siri, create a reminder for me. Remind me to water the plants tomorrow at 10 a.m. And it created that reminder for me on my phone. You can also do the same thing for a calendar appointment. If you want to add anything to your calendar, you can ask, Siri, even if you have Apple Music or if you listen to the podcast app, you can also ask Siri to open that. Hey Siri, open the podcast app. I can have it do that. Or I can be like, hey Siri, play some pop music on Apple Music. And so you can also do that. Hey Siri, open the YouTube app. And I can go to YouTube, etc. So there are many different uses. I would definitely just test out different things. Again, to see what works, what doesn't work. I learn how to do those things just by, just simple everyday things. Sometimes I want to know what the weather is at a glance, or create an appointment or a reminder, or open an app, or learn some information at a glance. So if you have used Siri before in the past, or if you will use Siri, please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, if you've used Siri in the past, if you learn how to do so today, if you're excited just to be able to use your voice to ask someone a question, to provide it back to you very quickly with some great information. I think it's so useful. I use Siri pretty much every day. Yeah. So again, different options. There's just many different ways to navigate your device. So just by utilizing Siri, again, you can get a lot of things done or learn a lot of things in just an instant, right? Using your voice is very easy. So I highly recommend that you try those things out. Let's see. Thank you. So I appreciate that. You all can hit lower at the bottom. Thank you. Thank you. But again, Siri is your own virtual assistant. Please take advantage of utilizing Siri. And last but not least today, we're going to mention there are several accessibility features on your iPad. I recommend you check out the Prevention of Blindness Society session that we have on our YouTube channel. She talked a little more in depth on accessibility features than we will today. But with accessibility, if you have any vision challenges, hearing challenges, color blindness, etc., you can adjust those settings here in accessibility. Excuse me, if I go to settings on my iPad, I'm going to hit accessibility, just 2 spaces above Siri and search on the left-hand side. So again, today we went over Touch ID and passcode. We went over Siri and search, which we're on now, and now we're going to go over accessibility. So there are vision accessibility features, also physical and motor, hearing accessibility features, any speech, and some general ones as well. I've definitely assisted someone with a cochlear implant. So if you have one of those or know anyone that has an Apple device that has that device, then you can let them know that there's the accessibility feature right here that she can utilize. What some of the main ones that folks take advantage of is here in Vision is display and text size. If your screen is too small, or if the words are too small or too big for some, you can adjust it here in display and text size. Of course, if you hit display and brightness on the left-hand side, you can do the same, but the larger text option gives you larger accessibility sizes. So you start your finger off at that white circle, mine is right in the middle, and you can adjust it how you please. I'm not going to do that now because it will mess up the screen share. But again, this is how you can adjust your display for larger or smaller text size. There are some physical and motor accessibility features as well. This one's interesting. I have AirPods, so I can adjust those settings. Home button, that's cool. I can adjust a few of those things if I want to. So it's important to just look through and see some of the options you have, like these general options. If I hit Siri, there are some other ones. One, I'm not really too familiar with this section right here, but it's always uh, good to know. Like this one, it says always listen for Siri or Hey Siri. Listen for Siri or Hey Siri when your iPad is facing down. Yes, if your iPad is like all the way down flat like this, it will not recognize it. But I just learned that literally today that you can go here and turn that option on. And even when your iPad, or I'm assuming I can go to my phone and go to settings and accessibility. Yep, accessibility. And then I find Siri here in general, same thing on the phone. And I see that same option. So again, if my phone is face down, again, normally I would not be able to utilize Siri, but if I turn that option on, I can do so. So that's quite interesting. I did not know that until today. So it's always important to look through the different features and things in your iPad, because even though not all of us may have any vision challenges or hearing challenges or anything, you can also just see some of the features or shortcuts that are there. Like again, with Siri, I would just see what's available and see what works for you. But again, if you want to adjust any accessibility settings, you can do so here in accessibility. Okay. So today we went over battery info. We also went over some buttons on your iPad, like the power, volume, and home buttons. We also covered the camera app. We covered Siri, we covered some accessibility features, and we covered some things with the home button like multitasking and Touch ID and passcode as well. So quite a few things regarding the physical components on your iPad, but also, again, some accessibility features as well. If you have any questions, please raise your hand in Zoom about anything that we covered today. Other than that, we are going to have a poll. So that way, again, you all can let us know how you felt about today's session. But do we have any questions about anything that we covered today? Please raise your hand in Zoom. Thank you to our newcomers that joined us today. If it's your first time viewing Module 2, I hope you learned something new. We have our modules every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, so September 4th, we'll hear from Jordan once again and recover this module. Okay, but again, make sure you stay on to complete the poll. I needed to do that accessibility for sure. Yes, make sure you check that section out and see what features you would like to take advantage of. And again, thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate that. Thank you.